What is up, world? You are in tune to the Marvelous Talk podcast. And of course, you got your usual suspects, myself and Big G. Big G, what's popping, my dude?
Man, what's popping, ma? 14,605. That's how I feel like down here in this rabbit hole, thinking about all the possibilities for Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness.
Hey, man, we got to go through them all.
14,605. Yeah, gotta
Got
go
to,
through them all.
got to go through them all to find out which one is going to actually work. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
for sure.
Hey man, if you like the weekly podcast that we've been giving you, make sure that you like it on Facebook, subscribe on Twitch and YouTube. So every time that we do go live, you are there alive and in person to watch us do what we do, definitely. But before we actually get into the content this week, which we got some good stuff, we're gonna get into this. And once again, you are here with your boys Big G and Mard, and we are about to talk. What else? Marvelous talk, man. Listen, so we were getting into everything, and then before we actually get into Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness, it is officially March 1st, my birthday month, which I will be celebrating all month, not just one day, which was yesterday, but I shall be celebrating all month. But it's also Moon Knight, man. It's Moon
Yeah.
Knight. How excited are you for Moon Knight? And actually, how excited are you for more Disney content? Like, we need more Marvel content. How excited are you, G?
Well, first of all, I can't let Ma take all the credit for the month of March. Me and my wife's 25th wedding anniversary is on March 20th. So I do a little celebrating too in the month of March. However, I will say that I am super stoked and super excited about the release date of March 30th of 2022 to finally get some new content for Disney Plus. I mean, we've been waiting, and God knows I've been like, man, just come on with it. So, and what's making it even more is that I'm in so much anticipation for Moon Knight. Moon Knight is a character that I followed a little bit as a kid in the comics. So I know some stuff about him because, of course, I'm a comic book head. But to really see what Disney and what Kevin Feige does with this character and how he's going to tie into everything that we have moving forward, man, I'm just super stoked, man, because, of course, we all know that Moon Knight has a dissociative identity disorder. So because of that, and some people call it schizophrenia, but we already done seen 5 characters coming out that are 5 different people he's going to be, everywhere from Mark Spector to Stephen Grant to Mr. Lockley, who drives the taxi cab in New York City, and Moon Knight that we know. And now we got the big picture, a big reveal for the picture of Mr. Knight. And for you guys that don't know, Mr. Knight is a whole different character than Moon Knight. So now we have 5 different things that this guy is going to have with this dissociative identity disorder. So I'm just stoked to see which way they really go with this Moon Knight character.
Moon Knight is rugged to me, man. I mean, when I say rugged, he's rugged. Like, it's a way that I think, and I heard this said today, and I really agree. It's a way that we can make Marvel darker and bring more violence without it actually not being kid friendly, because we're beating up monsters. We're beating up bad guys. We're not beating up and killing people. We're beating up and killing monsters. So, and monsters are bad. So kill them all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So definitely, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is a way that we can introduce. And then not only that, you got people like, and we need to talk about this too. I don't think we're going to see another Avenger series. I don't think we're going to see another Avengers series unless we see the West Coast Avengers. But I think, you're getting. We talked about this, and Big G was right on the money. Where the Midnight Suns, are going to be. I mean, we're putting them all up. Why would you put them into the game? Why would you introduce them and have them on the bench as a starting lineup and not put them in the game? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to do that. What do you think about this, man? Not having another Avengers brand. And I heard something today that really made me have to stop and take a pause. It wasn't the Avengers in 1992. It was the X-Men. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Being that it wasn't the Avengers, we still Marvel had claimed nobody took the Avengers because the Avengers were just the Avengers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what do you think about this? Talk to me, G. You being my resident comic book dude, I need you to talk to me. Tell me what you think about that.
Well, first of all, I do believe that eventually, up the road, we will get a rendition or revised movie for the Avengers. I think it's going to be a long ways out because they got some world building to do, and they have multiple team ups to do as well. I mean, when you start talking about the Midnight Suns, the Thunderbolts, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, possibly the Defenders, the Illuminati, these are all different teams that's going to form up, let alone some of the villain teams we might actually get a rendition of, including the Sinister Six and other, people like that. So the issue is going to be is they have to build out these teams like how they did in the comic books to have big team up things. Kevin Feige had a brand that he wanted to sell to us, which was Marvel. So, of course, to get to Marvel, we always know how it goes. You tell the story, you make some stuff happen, and you close the story out. So that's exactly what Feige just did with the whole phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 stuff. So now moving forward, he's got to build out multiple layers of teams because I'm telling you, we're headed to the Secret Wars. I've been calling it for months, and I'm going to keep calling it until I see it. But I'm telling you, Secret Wars is going to be one of the huge big team-up movies coming forward.
Yeah, actually, you've been calling this since the beginning of Marvelous Talk. You've been calling Secret Wars. You've been saying, hey, it's coming. See, ever since you saw the introduction of the Skrulls, I remember you said, hey, Secret Wars.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right, we'll see. But I mean, now it's just like, hey, it's not even an afterthought. I mean, I believe that, it's been set up, and it's been set up like 2 movies ago. You know what I mean? It's definitely been set up 2 movies ago. And there's a guy inside of and this is a little bit of a deep dive, but I know I forget his name. There's a guy who when Captain America went to Wakanda and he helped Wakanda, and his shield was different at the time, right? And they gave him some vibranium. Right? They gave him some vibranium. He took the vibranium back, and there was a guy who worked with. It wasn't Shield. It was I forget who he worked with for the time. It wasn't Hydra. Was it Hydra?
No. You're talking about how the vibranium was spread throughout the world without it actually being spread throughout the world.
I had the claim to be because his shield was made on an accident because the guy who made it was trying to expand the vibranium that the Wakandans gave him, and it made something totally different.
Right. So there was 2 different renditions of vibranium. One of it is adamantium, which you see they put in Wolverine's body. That was from Dr. Cornelius. That was actually part of the original Super Soldier program that they had with the United States of America. The second stuff was the stuff that they put in what's called Omega Red. And he's got those spinal things that come out of him. That's a spinoff or a form of the original vibranium as well. So there was like a team of doctors that was all working on the Weapons Plus, Weapons X, Super Soldier, whatever you want to call it. And that's what a lot of the comic books, what a lot of people don't understand and realize. The Earth-based stories is around the Super Soldier formula. So when you see guys like the Incredible Hulk, you see guys like even Spider-Man. Spider-Man has some ties to the super soldier formula because the doctor was actually working on the formula. He was trying to create super spiders that in turn he could show, okay, I could create super smaller animals, and then in turn I could create superhuman beings. So most of the stuff that goes down in the comic books has some tie, unless you're a mutant, or an inhuman, has some ties to the super soldier program. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I bring this up, Big G, is because what if we were thinking about the introduction of mutants all wrong? And Wolverine being introduced as someone who Hydra got their hands on, and he was just like a super spy, working it, always in the right place, right time, doing what he do. Hydra got their hands on him, like they did with Wanda and Pietro, right? And found out.
You talking about Baron von Strucker had some stuff going on with him?
Right. Because remember, he said that, he was just one of the facilities that had people that were doing, experiments on people.
True.
And so what if they found a mutant gene and Wolverine and activated it? And then that's where Wolverine got his bone claws from.
Yeah.
Right? And this guy who I'm talking about, what if they bring him in and that's how we get the vibranium in Wolverine's claw? What do you think about that?
Well, so Jason Howlett, who's the actual Wolverine character, has a long history outside of the X-Men. And I think I mentioned this before on one of the shows. Jason Howlett is hundreds of years old. So that Jason Howlett, for you guys that don't know, is actually Logan's real name. Right, Logan's birth name, a name he was born with. And this was a rendition that happened in the comic books, and they told the story well after the 1970s where they actually backlogged and told the whole story about Wolverine. Wolverine is actually one of the oldest mutants that ever lived. Him and Mystique are really, really old. They've been around for a long time. So I could see possibly that Wolverine has been around, but that's also ties back to my theory, which I said a couple of weeks ago on the show, that Kevin Feige is going to go back to his original thought process, where if you saw those outtakes that was in the first Iron Mans and all whatever else, and he was talking about a handful of mutants, Bruce Banner as the Incredible Hulk. You got all these people. We found somebody come up out of the ice. All this stuff that they were talking about, they laid the foundation. He even said something about Reed Richards and that original outtake that they said. So I believe that Kevin Feige is going to go back to his original storyboard to an extent, but the introduction of mutants is way bigger or way larger than Wolverine. I just know that they're going to build the story out. I know everybody wants Wolverine, everybody wants that storyline, but the broad paint stroke of the mutants is way bigger than that character, or even Professor Xavier, or the ones that we know about from us growing up, people growing up in the 90s and the cartoons and all whatever else. They're going to go back. That's why I keep this picture up here and I keep it glowed up on my screen, right? Because it talks about the original 5 X-Men being Beast, Iceman, Angel, Cyclops, and Jean Grey, which is Marvel Girl, and then how it transcends to this new team. So I believe that Kevin Feige is going to build that out and then drop little hints by saying, hey, look, well, there was Jason Howlett who actually fought Wolverine and who actually fought Hulk and Hulk edition number 181, which they introduced him by saying, hey, look, he's been around since this time. So I think you're going to see things like that happen where mutants are going to start popping up all over the place. But I still say there's going to be a big thing said in WandaVision. It might not be mutants, like how everybody thinks it's going to be no more mutants, but I think the merger. And I'm going to say this last point, I'm going to leave it alone. If you understand about how they've been building out this thing with the multiverse, and about the Illuminati, for those that are big listeners, you got to go and watch the Incursions and the Insurgents and see what happens when these universes start colliding up on top of one another. Because that's huge in the story of the House of M. That's huge in the story of Wanda Maximoff. That's huge in X-Men versus Avengers. This is stuff that actually happened in the comic book. So Kevin Feige's taking his liberty to pick and choose and pull from all kind of different places. And I think that the Incursions is going to be something you're going to see. You know, so there's going to be an event where Wanda's going to do something with superpowered people. It might not be mutants, but it's going to be something like that.
Agreed. I think
that makes sense.
I agree. I think when we start talking about the MCU, he does take liberty with the comic books. I think he, like I said, he goes as far as he possibly can to include the comic book aficionados like yourself, but not to exclude just regular, everyday, I want to watch a superhero movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, get so I mean, when people start dying and coming back, you're confused. You're like, man, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought he was dead, you know?
Right,
and then
right.
There's 7 different versions of everybody. So, I mean, you know, it's one of those things it's hard to keep up with. And then there was so much crossing over, so many people crossing universes that it was like, I don't know. Like, so you got to kind of stick to the script, so to speak. And I think, you know, Kevin Feige is doing an excellent job of that. Excellent job of doing that. And I just, like I said, I wanted to explore this mutant thing because honestly, I feel like, you know, that's going to be a part of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. You know, but and then like we were saying, just to go back to my point with Moon Knight and the Avengers, you know, at this point, we do have a lot of West Coast Avengers. We got White Vision, right? We have
Hawkeye. You have Hawkeye. We're going to have She-Hulk, right?
Yeah.
You know, so they have some of the base people. Only people they don't really have is like Wonder Man and Tigra, you know, which I think eventually we're going to get those, you know, to start actually the core
I think
team.
we're going to get them in probably like She-Hulk. I think we're going to start getting characters that's like spilled out and things like She-Hulk and titles of that nature. But the Midnight Suns, though, and that's big. That's big because, I mean, shoot, you got Blade, you got you have Moon Knight, you have what's the other knight?
Black Knight.
Black Knight. You got Black Knight.
Yeah, correct.
You got Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
You know, Doctor Strange. So you have them all here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's smaller sub characters that's got to join him. I mean, of course, like Werewolf by Night, which we know he's got a series coming. You know, eventually Dr. Voodoo's got to be part of the Midnight Suns. So there's characters that they can build out to add to these super groups. But believe me, and Mod, you had a very valid point that you're going to see team build-ups because they have to build the story big enough to have a Secret Wars, right? You're going to see team build-ups on smaller scale. So people have to get used to that whole ideology of like the Civil War. Captain America Civil War was a very popular movie when it came out. And Kevin Feige learned something, that you can have a couple of little small teams go at it versus this big, huge battle at the end.
Right.
So I believe that's what's going to happen here shortly is you're going to see, you know, maybe the Thunderbolts or somebody like that start fighting against the Midnight Suns, or you're going to see, you know, the Fantastic Four take on some people and maybe somebody come hook up with them. You're going to see stuff like that. And of course, the X-Men team is just huge. So you're going to see all kind of little team ups because that's going to keep people interested in bringing new characters like that weren't at the forefront when comic books was out. Like, so you guys got to understand, Moon Knight and Shang-Chi were not headliners, you know, as far as comic books was concerned. Moon Knight's second rendition was huge, right? Shang-Chi was popular because of the Bruce Lee or the karate movie thing that happened in the 70s. So he had a little short period. Even like I said, like Werewolf by Night, these were not headline things, but moving forward, they are going to be because they're building base world and then building it all the way out. You know.
Yeah, you know, and I think I'm thankful to our listeners out there in Marvelous Talk Land. They let me know that my microphone was a little off. I hope that was corrected real quick. Got that taken care of. But listen, Big G is on point. He's on point for real, man. And I really believe at this point, man, what we got to do is, I mean, we're waiting a whole another 30 days to start with Moon Knight. And listen, I just want you to know, he's going to be kicking behind and taking names. That's really all Moon Knight's good for. When the moon come out, he whooping some behind. It's going down. It just is what it is.
I think his character, man, with that dissociative identity disorder, I think his character, man, is going to be a lot broader than what people think. And I'm so stoked about Mr. Knight. I mean, now that they actually have pictures and where you can see it and see how much detail they put in his suit and all whatever else. I'm stoked about that Mr. Knight dude, man, because knowing what I know about him in the comic book, he's like Mr. Knight and Moon Knight are like yin and yang. Moon Knight's a vigilante. Mr. Knight's like a crime boss, so they're going to play two sides of the story, but I'm real excited about that, man. Real excited.
Yeah. And I like I said, I believe that we're not going to fall so deep into everything that we're going to lose the Marvel, just average everyday Marvel watcher. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, man, I mean, it's so much there. But we got some big news today. The Funko Pops came out, man, and in the Funko Pops we had 3 huge reveals. And if you know anything about Marvel movies, when they drop the Funko Pops, you're always gonna get confirmation of characters.
Right.
And definitely even in this one, we have in a Lego set, there's a Spider-Man inside of that one. So, which doesn't surprise us. We know that Tobey Maguire is probably in this one, right?
Yeah.
That he's definitely in. I mean, Sam Raimi is directing the movie. So, hey, it makes sense, right? Yeah. But these 3 characters, let's talk about the Minotaur character first. The Minotaur character, who is that? What's his name and what are he about, G?
So the Minotaur character that you see is a very deep cut from the comic book back in the original editions of Doctor Strange when the comics first came out. So a lot of folks think that Doctor Strange is like this magician and he's into dark magic and all whatever else. But if you know what I know concerning the comic books and how they built the Doctor Strange world out in the comic books, he really is multiverse. Doctor Strange goes on the astral plane and goes in different dimensions and different universes and fights all kind of different stuff. Everything that's sort of evil and ain't right, Doctor Strange gets into it with him, right, from different layers. So Rintrah is a deep cut from the comic book series with Doctor Strange from back in the 70s. Rintrah is he's a Minotaur / human that is trained by Doctor Strange to help him fight different people in different dimensions, right? He's actually an understudy. He gets manipulated by I think it's Dormammu or Nightmare in another dimension until Doctor Strange convinces him, like, man, look, they just playing with you like a puppet. So once Rintrah comes to our world, Doctor Strange trains him, and eventually Rintrah becomes like a Sorcerer Supreme type dude. So I'm real excited. I mean, I couldn't believe that they actually showed it in the commercials where you see a back shot of him and you actually see a front shot of him. So, I mean, if they gave a person like Rintrah away as far as a deep cut, there ain't no telling how many other people's going to be in this mod. Ain't no telling. I can see all kind of stuff happening with it. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, definitely. And when we're talking about this, we're also talking about when we're talking about the toy characters. We have another one named Sarah. That was interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a couple of different ways that could go. She's an African-American lady. She is dressed like a sorcerer, right? Mm-hmm. So she's dressed like Wong. She's dressed like Doctor Strange, Mordo. They're dressed just like the same person. But there's 2 different ways this character can go. Talk to us, G. Talk to us, G. Tell us which ways this character can go. And also give us your opinion, man.
Yeah, the rumor mill is going crazy because nobody. So let me say this. When they normally drop Funko Pops, right? Like how Mod said, they give confirmed character reveals for people that's going to be in the movies or in the show. But this Sarah character, nobody knew nothing about, right? I'm talking about even like people like me who live in the rabbit hole and who deep dive on stuff from movies. Nobody knew nothing about this Sarah. So normally they don't waste toys on characters who are irrelevant, because it's merchandise sales. So when people like me or people that do rabbit hole diving and know stuff about Marvel and comic book, we backed up. And we was like, wait a minute, who is this, or who could this be? So the two big theories that are out there right now is that Sarah is Mordo's mom. And if you know anything about in the comic books, Mordo actually sacrificed his mom in order for him to become Mordo. You know, so that was like, that could be the deal. But the other one is to be Wong's love interest, that everybody really, a lot of folks, more people think that it's Wong's love interest because they think that Wong has like an arranged marriage and he's got to get hooked up with somebody, and that these two are in the superior Strange's universe, and she gets offed, and that's why Wong becomes what he becomes. But I told Mod something before we jumped on the screen, and I'm sticking to this. I believe that this character could possibly be the African-American character that's powered up, that's fighting Wanda Maximoff in the commercials that we already got. That really could be, because we don't know who that character is, and now we get an African-American Funko Pop. They normally don't tell stories like that unless they're significant. So that character could be that Sorcerer Supreme bodyguard that's fighting against Wanda Maximoff or Scarlet Witch, trying to have her come and go get her kids. So, you know,
could be. I mean, we did see something that looked in 8K that looks just a lot like Jonathan Majors and Kang the Conqueror. But you know, I mean, hey, if Marvel is nothing if they're not misdirectional. I mean, listen, they still have certain people chasing Mephisto. So I mean, you know, literally, hey, the king of misdirections. They played 3-card Monty with us real well. But so you think, honestly, you think this is the dispensation of the woman who's in love with Wong, right?
That's my call. That's my call. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it could be anything, but my call is that this is Wong. This has got some ties to Wong. You know,
I can believe that.
We got to see somebody got. So I'm gonna say this: somebody got to die in the movie in order for somebody's got to get off.
Hold up, G. Not somebody, but let's make that plural. There's going to be several deaths in this movie because get this, it's too many of them. So people are going to die. Like different versions of these people are going to die. You know, but speaking of different versions, we got Superior Strange, right?
Yeah, man, I was hyped.
Now let's talk about this, man, because just to give you guys some background, what they're saying about Superior Strange is that he is the manifestation and the end person, we can say the end game, no pun intended, of the Strange that we have in our MCU universe. He is, I mean, that's why they built a statue to honor him, and that's why the Ancient One said, hey, you know, he is the best of us. He was meant to be the best of us. And that's who we're thinking Superior Strange is. But let me let Big G just go and embellish on this some more, man. Tell us more about Superior Strange.
Well, so Superior Strange is an actual, once again, like I told you guys, a rendition of Doctor Strange in another universe or another dimension fighting for what's supposed to be all good, right? So like Ma did say that the Ancient One knew and saw that Strange was supposed to be the greatest one of them all. So that's why she gave Bruce Banner, the Incredible Hulk, the Time Stone, because she knew that he needed it to finish off what he needed to finish off. That's where all that stuff ties together. However, but this is what you got to understand about Superior Strange. Superior Strange doesn't have any red in his outfit. He doesn't have the cape. He doesn't have any red in his uniform. Colors mean something in the MCU.
Whoa.
So when you see a character that does not have red in them, that means they don't have chaos in them, right? Because think about it. Scarlet Witch, she represents chaos. It's red. That's what her magic, that's what her powers are called. Agatha Harkness is a little bit of that purple. So purple is a color off of red. So she's not as deep into chaos as Wanda Maximoff is, but she still got some red tied to her. Doctor Strange, the Superior Strange, doesn't have any red. So that means that this guy is without chaos, which means he's the ultimate version of what we should depict a Doctor Strange being. Also, I got to point this out too. We've already seen in the What If series that there's a Strange Superior. A strange superior means that he was all about himself. If you go back and watch What If, that was the guy that was going through all the different timelines and fighting magical beings and killing them and sucking them into his body, so then that way he could go to an ultimate point in the timeline and fix it, right? Which eventually, the whole universe came down on him. But notice how the name went strange superior to superior strange. There's a play on words there. Superior strange means he's all about the big picture. He's all about everybody else. Strange superior means he's all about himself. And I also believe that blue that you see represents a lot with the Illuminati, the ones that we see sitting back in the chair. Because if you go back and look at all the pictures, everything is tied to that silverish blue color. So it might have something to do with Professor Charles Xavier, but I think it's got a lot to do with the whole superior strange.
Wow. I mean, but and look, you guys, all of this off some Funko Pops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what Marvel does to us, man. They leave us to our own devices, and we have to go down to the rabbit hole and pick some stuff up and put some stuff together. But I mean, it makes for great talk. It makes for a great conversation as we lead up to the movie. And honestly, I'm still thinking to myself, all of these different versions of Doctor Strange, they have to lead to something. Again, you have to think about this. They are, as they're putting this whole thing together, they're putting it together for somebody for somebody to die, for it to be the end of something, right?
Right.
For it to be the culmination of what we just saw, just like with Endgame. It's the end of something. We're closing the book on something. We're opening up something else. So know that there are going to be different variations of people who die, and then characters who go on with us throughout this whole dispensation of this next phase of Marvel movies. Here's where I say Kevin Feige always takes liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And we in Infinity Wars, we were supposed to have Adam Warlock if we went by comic book status, right?
Right, correct.
And then Adam Warlock was supposed to be the saving grace for everybody. He was supposed to come in and be the one that Thanos couldn't handle,
Right.
But instead, we got,
the Avengers, Tony Stark.
Yeah, we got that one movie that I don't really like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The worst movie in the Marvel catalog from that phase. You know what I'm talking about. The one I don't like. You know what I'm saying? We got her showing.
I'm staying away from it because I want Mom to say it.
We got her.
You can't stand it.
We got her showing up and then getting handled by Thanos. Yeah. When then Wanda Maximoff comes behind and was like, "You don't know me, but look here, I'm about to do you in. Like, you took everything away from me." And that brother had to start killing off his own stuff to get her off of him. He had to start killing. Almost killed himself. He was like, "Forget about it. Rain fire. Just make sure you get her off me, man. Whatever you got to do, get her off of him." So,
right.
Like I said, Kevin Feige takes liberties and changes things. And I think that as we are changing a lot of what's happening, that's why I feel like we're getting the House of M story in reverse.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting it in reverse so that, it's not straight up and people can judge it. You know what I mean? Because if he'd have did it straight up, everybody would have judged. Well, that's not how it is. That's not how.
Right.
But now if I do it backwards and you're seeing it backwards, you can see where, that possibly could have happened,
Well, he told us also, even going into this, bro, that the 3 parts there was going to be 3 parts to the whole storyline for Doctor Strange. We was told that it was WandaVision, that it was Spider-Man No Way Home, and that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was a 3-part thing. We was told that. Right now, us rabbit hole folks and stuff like that, and deep divers with Marvel, we pieced Loki 2 and 2. It was like, oh wow. And then when we saw What If, we was like, oh, it makes all the sense in the world. But we were told that. So like how you said with the House of M and that whole storyline, this is a 3-part thing, right? So I recommend anybody, before you go see Doctor Strange in May, if you haven't sat down and watched WandaVision, you need to go back and watch it again, like for real. And then if you have the opportunity, I think maybe by May, Spider-Man No Way Home might be on where you can get it on pay-per-view or something like that, where you can get it. So, you know,
well, I mean,
check them out, you know.
I think it's going to Hulu first. So
yeah.
I mean, you know, when it get on Hulu, I know I'm gonna watch it again. You know,
yeah, for sure I am. You know,
I'm probably gonna watch it a couple of times, and I'm definitely gonna watch WandaVision again to kind of wet my palate and make sure that I understand what's going on in a place with Wanda, right? Because I want to understand Wanda's whole mental makeup of what's going on. You know, definitely. And before we get to last week's question, you know, we have a question that was asked by one of our listeners, DJ Teddy. Definitely, we're gonna get to that question. You know, it's not just all Marvel. We explore all comic book and you know, superheroes, DC as well. You're gonna hear us talk about those things here on the program as well. We're not gonna just be one trick ponies. We're gonna dive on Marvel because we love Marvel. But man, there's a movie that premiered tonight. I was so, first of all, I was not gonna do it. I was not gonna do it. G. I listen, when it comes to Batman, my guy. When it comes to my guy, I found my Batman in Christian Bale. Okay. I found my Batman in Christian Bale, right? You know, I didn't want to see the sparkly dude, you know, from the vampire movies play my Batman. You know, just like I don't want to see Mahershala play my Blade, but I'm forced into these kind of things.
Right.
But all of the reports that I'm getting from this movie says that it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And yeah, hey man, it's early. And you know, all of the pre-screeners, everybody's coming back saying it's a 10 out of 10. So guess what? I'm gonna be in the movies sometime this week seeing. Yeah. You guessed it. The sparkly dude playing Batman. What do you think about it, G? Do you think it's gonna be even worth us going to go see, man? I mean, because people done said 10 out of 10 before, and it's been like an 8. But you know, what you think?
Well, I just looked up the Rotten Tomatoes reviews and stuff like that, and they're giving it fire. You know, so I think that this is DC's last effort to move towards expanding out a universe that can rival Kevin Feige and the MCU. I think they're starting with this storyline with the Batman because I know for a fact, I mean, there's some things I know about the movie. It's already premiered, so this is sort of spoiler talk. So if you haven't seen it, I'm going to just tell you some stuff. Like the Penguin isn't the Penguin until he goes through what he goes through in the Penguin. The Riddler isn't the Riddler before he goes through what he is in the movie. So this is building those characters out, you know, without reviving the Joker and all whatever else. There's some couple of reference points to him. And there's definitely the whole thing about Catwoman in it. So this is like Batman pre-Robin. This is Batman at his darkest point where this dude is just like offing people. He's not trying to save nobody. He's killing people. So I think this is they're trying to start it. And then you'll see some other stuff like with Black Adam, with Flashpoint. You know, you're going to see the Shazam movie. They're trying to like pull it together and expand and create at least a storyline that everything all ties together. So if this is the start block for them, I give them a thumbs up for now. If this is the start block. So like, and I'm comparing start block for them like with start block of Iron Man. Because if you got to compare the original Iron Man movie to the first Iron Man movie to the Batman movie, who are the center points or focal points for that story being told, this Batman movie is way better than that Iron Man movie.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something, man. You know, Robert Pattinson's still sparkly, man. He's a sparkly dude, man. I mean, you know, I don't want to, you know, werewolves, and he fought werewolves and stuff. Twilight series, I can't do it, man. Like I told you, I don't want to see my Batman twinkling. It just is what it is. But you know, Rotten Tomatoes has given it a 87, and it's a 97 with an audience score.
Yeah.
And like I said, a lot of the pre-screeners that I watch and that I pay attention to have given it 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
So guess what? On Saturday morning, Saturday morning, guess what you're gonna get from us? You're gonna get a soft review of
Batman.
the Batman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going in, I'm gonna watch it. It is what it is. I'm gonna watch it. Listen, I'm not happy about it. I just Marvelous Talk for listeners. Listen, I need you to understand and I need you to hear my heart, Marvelous Talk. I'm not happy, but I'm doing this for you guys.
Right.
I'm doing this for y'all. I'm not happy. I don't really want to go watch the sparkly dude on. I mean, listen, it's like I don't want to see Mahershala, but I can't not see Blade, right?
Right. I mean, our show is definitely around Marvel stuff, right? I mean, that's just what we do it for. But we're comic book heads and we're fans. So, you know, I was the type of person that unless I got seen at least at 80 on Rotten Tomatoes for any DC thing, I wasn't giving it the first shot in the world. But so now if you see Rotten Tomatoes and other people start talking about 87 and then the other review 97 and 10 out of 10 for people that watch stuff, yeah, I got to do what I got to do just to give it some homage because, like I said, and this is my theory, I think that they're starting over with the DC universe. And I think that this movie, if you're going to line up timeline stuff, ties directly to the first Iron Man. So if you go back to Iron Man 1, this is the Batman. So they're going to build their story from there. Now, if they get to start, now, which I already know, Flashpoint is supposed to be where they start talking about all the multi-universe, because that goes on in DC too. So they're going to try to wrap it up quick where they bring everything together. But I think that they're trying to just hang with what's going on over there with Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige looking at him like, man, y'all think y'all can want to hang with old Eddie Kane? Y'all want to hang with Eddie Kane. And I want to hang with Eddie Kane. I don't know if that's going down like that, you know. And like I said, you're tuning into Marvelous Talk to hear us talk about Marvel, but we're all things superhero. You have to understand that we're gonna talk about other things and we're gonna bring other things into our conversation. It's just part of it. You know, we can't turn it off. Like, you know, we watched the Wonder Woman movies, we watched the Aquaman movies, and we were not impressed. We were not impressed. But I ain't gonna lie to you. The Dark Knight series. Yeah. Why even touch Batman again? That's why I was upset. I mean, that's why I was upset. That you got to understand. Ben Affleck he wasn't halfway bad as Batman. I didn't hate him. You know what I'm saying? Which is good. You know, because I hated Val Kilmer. Yeah. I no, hate's a bad word. I disliked Val Kilmer as Batman. Yeah. I disliked George Clooney. George Clooney, stay over there and play in the Ocean series. That's why I like you. You know what I'm saying? Right there. I really like you there. Right. Don't touch the Batman. Don't touch the Batman. You know, I mean, hey, but Christian Bale, like, you know, that's who we talking about. Who your Batman is, right? Mm-hmm. So you think it's by accident that Kevin Feige went and got that Joker for Gore the God Butcher? It's Marvel. It's not. That was on purpose. It was on purpose. Right. And he's a character that's going to have staying power inside of our universe moving forward. And you got a strong actor to do that. Somebody who can sell that role, man. That's, you know. Right. Yeah. So anyway. Feige knew what he was doing. Feige knew. Did. Yeah, he did. All right. So this week's question, definitely let me find the question here, man, and I'll read the question, and G is gonna give you guys the answer here, man. You know, definitely when we think about this whole thing, we tell you every week if you got a question to make sure that you reach out to us and you tell us your question. All right. And the question came from DJ Teddy. He said, will the Midnight Suns be a thing now after Moon Knight, Blade, Wolverine come out in the Marvel universe? Now, Big G, give us the answer. Give us the scoop. All right. So first of all, I want to say a big thank you, man, and a big thumbs up for DJ Teddy for rocking with us on the Marvelous Podcast, man. So great question. It's sort of long answer, but I'm going to try to be short and brief as I possibly can, right? The Midnight Suns, like we've already touched about, is going to be a huge thing with the MCU moving forward. I've already touched on the fact that they're setting up multiple teams through phase 4 and phase 5. The Midnight Suns, the Young Avengers, the Thunderbolts, the Fantastic Four, the Illuminati, and my beloved X-Men, right? The aliases of Moon Knight are going to tie into this as well, because you got Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, Blade, Ghost Rider, Werewolf by Night, and all these Marvel heroes that can fight people on a magical, like godlike way, on a magical front. So you got to have, if you're going to have villains that's going to come into the MCU like that, you got to have people that can fight them. So I know that the Midnight Suns, and like we've already said multiple times on the podcast, that they're going to be huge moving forward, right? So, but the one thing I want to point out is, like the comic book, Marvel allows the reader and the viewer to see heroes fight on all fronts, right? So because of that, you got to have some folks fighting over in the magic side. You got to have some folks fighting over on the Earth-based side. You got to have some folks fighting on outer space. You got to have some folks fighting on like Hell's Kitchen and the baseline ground stuff. You got to have people all over fighting, because good is supposed to overcome evil in all circumstances and situations. So you got to build antagonists at the same time you build out evil people. But at the same time, the Midnight Suns are anti-heroes, many of them. So these dudes can, like, what you talk about, switch hitter, they can bat on both sides, right? The answer for the Wolverine thing is this. The Wolverine story, and I touched on this a little bit in the show, it's so complex that you just can't pop Wolverine into something. It's not going to work like that. You might see the Wolverine that we knew from the Fox, but that's just for Kevin Feige to kill him off, right? So you have a reference point that he's in it, right? So, but when you start talking about Wolverine through the Department H, which is the Canadian Super Soldier Program, Department X or Weapon X or Super Soldier Program, and even like I said before, his first point was way before he joined the X-Men, when they showed him in the comic book, which was Hulk number 181, right? So you're going to see them build this, and not to mention the backstory he's got with Captain America, with Black Panther, with Mystique. I mean, Wolverine's got some stuff. Even with Namor, Wolverine's been tied to a lot of different people, a lot of different places. Red Skull. So you're going to see Wolverine do some stuff where you might see him build, and eventually join the X-Men team. But I'm the believer that when they reboot this thing and they call it, because Feige ain't even calling it to X-Men, he's calling it to mutants. So I think when they first jump off, you're going to see as close as you can as that canon with the comic book, with the first 5 members. Now, he might start moving fast once he gets them in. But then up the road, I think they're going to say Wolverine with an appearance with Hulk, too. I think that's going to be when you actually see this Joker jump into the movies. You're going to see Wolverine and Hulk get it on. I'm telling you, that's coming. And that's going to blow everybody away. When you actually see Wolverine in that yellow suit fight the Incredible Hulk, it's going to be off the hook, man. Off the hook. So I hope that answers your question, man. And once again, I just thank you for rocking with us, man, with our podcast, man. Really.
Most definitely. Thanks, DJ Teddy, for your question. And if you have a question, make sure you leave that for us on Facebook, or you leave it for us on YouTube, and we'll definitely get back to you. You leave it on Twitch. Everything on Twitch is done live. So, right. Make sure that we will get back to you and answer that question. And I think that was an excellent question. I mean, because definitely, why introduce the Midnight Suns if you're not going to make all of the Midnight Suns important, right?
Right.
And the reason why I said that you won't see, so let me come back. Let me agree with Big G real quick. You're going to see a version of the Avengers, but not no time soon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now that I think about it, you got some character development to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Well, White Vision, then there's a couple of more people that you got to add to it, and then She-Hulk ain't even came out. So, I mean, you got a new version of Hawkeye. I mean, so for the young Avengers, you know what I'm saying? And then you have, you're going to have Wanda's 2 kids, right?
Well, so you got Patriot, you got Kate Bishop, you got Billy and Tommy, you got At least those four. You know you're going to get a Hulkling eventually.
Well, you got Miss
eventually.
Marvel.
You got Captain Marvel, and then you possibly could get a version of Iron Lad, you know, which is supposed to be in Black Panther. That could be the rendition of the Iron Man character moving with the Young Avengers. So you got that team. You know that Val is building a team of villains. You know you got the Abomination. She's already done got. You got the Dark Captain America. You got
the Make-A-Wish Captain America.
Right. You have Black Widow's sister that she's been working with, which we saw in the Black Widow movie. So that's happening. They're introducing the characters of the Midnight Suns. We know the Fantastic Four is coming, right? So it's all they got to build all these teams up to have players from all the teams. So when they do the Secret Wars, you can pull from anywhere, right? To actually have a battle world fight, And I think more than anything, I'm more excited about Victor Von Doom than anybody. When I see Victor Von Doom hit that screen, oh man, I might stand up and just start cheering in the theater, man, because I know how critical he is for this battle world, Secret Wars, man. When I see him, every theory that I've been talking about for years, I know it's gonna come true. I know it's gonna happen.
So I have to say this, you guys out there in Marvelous Talk Land.
Teddy, yeah.
First and foremost, DJ Teddy, thank you so very much. We see you. I'm glad that you were happy with your answer. But I gotta tell y'all, this dude here is the Victor Von Doom fan. I don't really get him like that. I don't really get Von Doom. I don't get Doom like that, man. He in the metal face and with a cape on. It just seems seemed real suspect to me. You know what I'm saying? He seems like he's doing.
He's the only bad guy I cheer for. Listen, which I know he's got to lose, but he's the only bad guy I cheer for.
Big G, right? He just seemed real sketchy. He just seemed real sketchy as an individual. I don't care about how smart he is. He seemed very sketchy. You know what I mean? Why you got to wear a hood? Why you got to wear a hood, Doom? Why we wearing the hood? You already encased in all this metal. Well, why are we putting a hood on, man? You know what I'm saying? Man, it's hot. Aren't you hot enough?
I think I'm gonna have to do like a Saturday morning cartoon, man, about Von Doom, man, and break it down and tell you how pivotal this dude is. But so all roads, like how they're trying to make it seem like all roads lead back to Kang, all roads for every team. Every team in the MCU done fought, or in the Marvel comic book universe done fought Victor Von Doom at least once. Doom done fought everybody. I'm telling you, Namor, the Avengers, the X-Men, the Defenders, the Fantastic Four. He done fought them all. It up.
He stirs it up. Yeah, he don't mind. He don't run from a fight at all. Like, he really don't. That's why I said he's sketchy, man. You know what I'm saying? Anybody it's like a dude walking around in a trench coat and it's 112 degrees. That's what Von Doom is, man. You know what I'm saying? It's already hot and all that encased in metal. And you got this big cape on. I don't trust you, man. I don't trust you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I would fight him too. If I had superpowers and I saw somebody walking up like that, I'm fighting him too. It's going down. Listen, just don't.
You trust Iron Man? What's the difference between Von Doom and Iron Man?
Iron Man don't got on a cape. Like I said, this dude got on a whole hood and cape. I'm telling you, if I got superpowers, I'm fighting Von Doom on site. It's on site. I'm not even asking anything. It's on site. It's going down.
Site. Yeah, it's
site.
Going down on site.
Hey, listen, I'm powering up whatever weapon I got. Yeah. And as soon as I see him, I'm blasted. I'm not even asking questions.
But you know what though? That you said that's a real thing, because that actually happened in multiple comic books. Where, like, I'm talking about on site. They saw him. They was like, "Oh no, we got to hold him out."
Hey, so wrong with it, man.
Yeah.
On site, I'm loaded up. I'm loaded up on site. Whatever I got. Yeah. Hey, weapons over my shoulder, whatever. If I got to summon up something, hey, it's going down. I got to get him. I got to get him up out of here, man, because he looks sketchy.
This how powerful, and I'll mention this stuff on the rabbit hole thing too, but this how powerful Von Doom is, right? When Von Doom first ran into the X-Men, I'm talking about like the first rendition of the X-Men, like when he fought them, right? After they went from the black and white uniform, black and yellow uniforms to like where they had colors in their uniforms. Charles Xavier he broke his own rule and read Reed Richards' mind to figure out how to fight Von Doom. He scanned everybody. Like he went in Cerebro, scanned everybody, saw all that Reed Richards had history with fighting Von Doom, and like tried to figure out to use some of Reed Richards' strategies to tell the X-Men how to fight the dude. So you already know when you talk about on site, there's some on site stuff that jumped off.
Yeah, it was on site. It had to be on site. But listen, you guys, man, once again, man, we thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of Marvelous Talk, man. Thank you for hanging out with us. Make sure you like on Facebook, subscribe on Twitch and YouTube, so that every time we go live, you're there with us. You're there to rock with us and have a good time. G, you got any parting thoughts?
Nah, let's get it in. And what we got? We have 28 days. Oh, and I got to say this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you need any review for what's going to happen in Marvel, these next 28 days is when you need to do it. Because I'm telling you, you're going to go Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, She-Hulk, Thor: Love and Thunder. It's just going to go back to back to back to back to back. So they're going to mash the gas on the accelerator. So if you need to catch up, you need to use these 28 days to catch up. Because if not, you're not going to be able to catch up. It's going to be too much.
Good point, man. Good point. And definitely to my point, I just want y'all to know my birthday all month. I am celebrating all month. And to everybody out there, just know I am celebrating my birthday all month. Yeah. And also, I'm being forced, you guys, to go see the Batman. I got to see the sparkly dude play Batman, and I'm not real happy about it.
Yeah.
But till next week, you guys. We'll see y'all on Saturday. Peace.